Okay, we're very happy to be joined by the head coach of the George Washington women's basketball team, Jen Rizzotti, in her first year. Coach Rizzotti, thanks so much for joining us and welcome to Sports Talk tonight.
Thanks for having me on.
Congratulations on your great start to your career at GW. Could you talk about how your first year has gone and overall, how happy are you with your team's 7-4 start?
Well, it's been a very fairly easy transition. I give a lot of credit to the girls on the team. They've been very receptive to a new coaching staff. This is a team that's had a lot of success in the last couple years, and it could have been a very difficult situation to walk in with a new coaching style and a new staff, but very coachable, very bright young women who have made my professional transition very, very easy. We've obviously gotten off to a good start. We've had a very tough schedule early that's I hopefully will prepare us for the rigors of A10 play with a few more games to come. So.
And you, of course, had a lot of experience at Hartford, too. Unprecedented run of success at Hartford, 6 NCAA tournament appearances. You're in the Women's Hall of Fame. Could you talk about what attracted you to GW and bring all of your experience and all of your success to the Colonials?
Yes, well, I think that the fact that George Washington is reputation as a great academic school was the attraction number one. I wanted to be at a place at this point in my career where I could sell that balance of the academic and athletic success. I had some time in my career where I crossed paths with Patrick Nero, our athletic director. I knew he was somebody that was passionate about women's athletics. And I've always been attracted by the Atlantic 10 Conference. I think it's one of the best conferences in the country, especially for the sport of basketball. And I was very intrigued at, kind of challenging myself at that next level with the great coaches that are in our conference, and being able to consistently compete on a national level as well.
Could you talk about your team this year? In addition to having 7 wins, a 7-4 start, it seems like you have a lot of balance. You have 5 different players averaging 8 or more points, good shooting numbers across the board, and in your wins, you're winning by a large margin. And even the losses, the few there have been so far, most of those games have come right down to the wire. So, tell us a little bit about your teams this year.
We definitely have a lot of great balance on the offensive end of the floor, and that's something I've been preaching from day one is taking care of the ball, getting great shots, pursuing the offensive glass, and really sharing the basketball. One of the highlights of the season so far was our game against VCU, where my team had 25 assists on 32 baskets, and that's like a coach's dream. I got a very unselfish group of young ladies who puts the team first, and they put winning above all else. And in the games that we've lost, they've like you said, they've been competitive. We've been in every single game and actually have been up in every fourth quarter, other than Syracuse, which we only lost by 3. So every one of these games have been a learning experience for our team. Like I said earlier, that will hopefully prepare us for what's to come in January and February, and that's the goal of any coach in the non-conference portion of their schedule.
And that loss to Syracuse was against a team, the Orangemen, of course, ranked right now in the top 11, I believe, in the country. Could you talk about the individual players on your team, some of the key players, and maybe some of the underrated players that haven't gotten a lot of attention so far this year?
Yeah, well, we're certainly led by our group of seniors. Kyra Washington is returning as an all-conference player and was preseason first team All-Atlantic 10, and she leads us in scoring and rebounding, and she's drawing a lot of attention this year and really learning how to be a go-to player for us. Hannah Shively is kind of the heart and soul of our team. Not only does she score for us, but she rebounds, she assists. She's on the floor more than anybody else combined. She's just one of those kids that really is one of the most competitive spirits I've ever been around in basketball. Shannon Cranshaw is probably one of our unsung players, somebody who comes off the bench for us and provides a lot of shooting accuracy. She's another tough player for us that doesn't turn the ball over a lot and really takes pride in being tough on defense. And then our graduate student, Lexi Martins, who's coming from us after 3 years of being the best player at the University of Lehigh. And she's another one that brings a spark off the bench for us. And, that crew really gets a lot done on the floor in the statistics. And we're being led by a young point guard in Maylin Batista, who's still trying to figure out, how to lead this group of upperclassmen. But she's probably somebody that's gone under the radar a little bit, but is very important to our future success.
Our special guest joining us via the Skype line, Jen Rizzotti, George Washington University head coach of the women's basketball program. You mentioned you've already played some very stiff competition so far. You got a big game coming up. Your next contest is against Stanford, ranked 10th in the country right now. What are some of the things that you've noticed by watching film on them, and what are some of your expectations and keys for that ball game coming up?
Well, we're fortunately in a time where we have a little bit of practice opportunity,
Hmm.
which you don't always get in November and December. So I am looking forward to having a little bit of time to actually work on us before we prepare for
Hmm.
Stanford. But our kids are also in finals, so it's a very stressful time academically for them. So this is a good week for us to heal, for us to fine tune some of the things we've been doing on offense. Stanford is very, very balanced as well. Their leading scorer, Erica McCall, is one of the best players in the country. She'll be a tough matchup for us. But they really have some good balance between guys that can shoot the ball, they can put the ball on the floor and score, and they've run very disciplined offense. So, again, another ranked team on our schedule coming
Hmm.
in to play us here at the Smith Center. We're very excited about the opportunity to test ourselves against one of the best in the country and one of the best coaches in the country in Tara Vanderveer.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, before we let you go, I just want to get your thoughts on what the holidays are like for you. You mentioned you have a little bit of time now with finals and everything going on, but then you got two games right before Christmas, and then you're playing on New Year's Day, and then you have the A-10 schedule shortly thereafter. So what's the next few weeks like for you and your program?
Yeah, well, like I said, we'll have a little bit of time to just improve over the next few weeks
Hmm.
with less games and more practice time, but also some physical days off for our kids to rest and recoup after a tough, rigorous schedule up to this point. So after that game on the 23rd, our kids will be able to go home for 4 or 5 days. And I love the fact that when we come back from the Christmas break, we'll be right into our Atlantic 10 schedule with one of the best teams in the Atlantic 10 up to this point in Duquesne.
Hmm.
So we'll be able to really focus our efforts on our second but first Atlantic 10 game after the new year, and really set some goals, some hopefully very ambitious goals for our team and what they want to accomplish heading forward. And so we'll use those Stanford and Loyola games as our last practice opportunities, and then the real season starts on January 1st.
Sounds good. Coach Rizzotti, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on your great start and continued success to you and your program.
Great. Thank you so much for having me on.
It was our pleasure. Jen Rizzotti, the head coach at GW, kind enough to join us, and we'll take a break and be back with more of tonight's Sports Talk in just a moment.